What's up, guys? Welcome back to RGBtv. I'm Andy, here with Jonathan today, and we have a review for Pokemon Detective Pikachu. So, Detective Pikachu is the first film in the future Pokemon cinematic universe. No, well, honestly, it's the first live-action Pokemon movie that has ever been produced.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pokemon is a huge franchise, many different forms that it's taken, video games, anime, card games. It's been a worldwide phenomenon for many decades.
Like, the triple threat right there. Video games, card games.
The Trinity, the holy Trinity of media.
Trinity.
And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting for fans of the franchise to, for there to be, you know, the first ever live action feature film. So, Jonathan, with that being said, I'm gonna throw it at you. What are your thoughts on Detective Pikachu?
Okay. I have thoughts.
You have thoughts. That's what we're here for.
It was good. It wasn't great. We'll discuss that a little bit when we get to the spoilers. The best part, let's just start with the best part. I thought Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, he was the best part of the movie, which is, you know, to be expected because Ryan Reynolds, just in general, as a comedian and as an actor, he's hilarious. And he gets like really in depth with the roles. Like you can tell he's a fan of whatever role he's playing. Like with Deadpool, you can tell he's a Deadpool fan. Pokemon, you can tell he's a Pokemon fan.
If not like maybe an original fan, at the very least, he seems to dive into the world of whatever he's portraying, and he seems to give it his all. Yeah. I agree.
Besides Ryan Reynolds, the Pikachu's partner in the movie, what's his name? Justice Smith, I think.
Justice Smith.
He was good, but he could have been better. I thought his character was kind of interesting, trying to discover like the mystery of what happened to his dad. Other than that, all the other characters, they were so bland. Without getting into too much details, the girl that he meets a little ways in the movie, her character was just extra camp and just terribleness. The acting was like no big deal. The villains, super predictable, very forgettable, I thought. I don't know. What did you think? What did you think of the acting and the characters?
All right. So based off the first trailer for the film, having watched it, I was pretty excited for it. Me, myself, being a Pokemon fan since basically early childhood.
Yeah. We grew up with Pokemon.
Grew up with Pokemon, as did many millions of other people our age, right? So everyone was looking forward to this movie. The trailer made it seem like a lot of fun. Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu seemed fantastic in the trailers. So I came into this, well, at least based off the first trailer, I was pretty hyped about it. For consequent trailers after that, I was like, okay, they seem to be showing a lot for the movie. Yeah, so I was starting to get a little bit worried about it. And then the reviews started coming in, and some people were saying, mixed reviews. Right. So I came in with low expectations. I was like, you know what?
I'm just hoping for greatness, but expecting.
I wasn't even hoping for greatness. I was hoping for good. I was hoping for enjoyable, fun. So I lowered my expectations, and even having lowered my expectations, I must say that I was still disappointed. I was still highly disappointed. Yeah.
Highly, huh?
I was highly disappointed. Okay. I gotta say I was. I would say the film was mediocre. I would say it's mediocre to parts where it was bordered. Well, several parts of it were bad. I wouldn't say the film overall was bad, but there were some terrible aspects to it. So like you expanded on some of the actors. Justice Smith, I feel that he performed an act of injustice on this film. Okay, I was talking about it with a friend, and they mentioned that probably the entirety of the budget went to casting Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu.
Yeah.
Which was a fantastic choice.
And the animation of Pikachu.
The animation in the film.
Cute.
He looked adorable.
So
yeah.
cute.
That's one, if you ever want to see a way to make a cartoon or video game character and bring him into the real world in a way that is, you know, actually satisfactory to the fans, this is the way to do it. Every other aspect of the film was a major letdown. I didn't feel like Justice Smith has the acting chops for the role. I feel like he was...
There was a few scenes when he was getting emotional that I thought like, okay, he's kind of pulling it off. It's kind of tugging at your heartstrings. You kind of get what his story arc is all about.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, the acting was pretty bad all around.
He was passable. He was passable, but he was nothing. I mean, as a counterpart to Pikachu, I felt like they needed someone who had a little more talent, someone who had a little more screen presence, someone who can play off that character a little better.
One of the things that I loved from the movie, the visual effects of the Pokemon. Some Pokemon maybe in the background looked a little unfinished or whatever. But a lot of the Pokemon that got screen time, it was like great seeing them so like vividly animated, and I thought the 3D, the visual effects was really good. There's
a scene where they show like Trico like sleeping on the glass right there. He walks up to like the teller or whatever, like the clerk, and he looked adorable. Pikachu looked adorable. Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur, all adorable.
All the Pokemon we know and love, they looked very nice.
But I will say this. A lot of them I felt were like disturbing. They looked disturbing. So like
too realistic?
Yes, like bringing them into a realistic world, they were a lot of them like they didn't translate well, or maybe just the style of the animation, or like for example, Lickitung was hideous. Maybe that was the point of that scene, right? Like to be grossed out, but I was like, dude, this just looks terrible. He looks gross. He looks like a fleshy in a drawn animated style. Greninja, the idea of his tongue is his cape and whatnot, right? Like that's fine in animation, but bringing that to life, like seeing like a lifelike tongue wrapped around and like hanging around and flopping, it was kind of like disturbing and slightly. So I was like, ugh. All right, well, guys, we're gonna get into spoilers from this point on because you know that's what we're here for. We got to get to the meat. We got to get to the juicy deets. All right. So the plot, very predictable, and not only that, but like unintelligible, like kind of like. Not very fleshed out, like confusing, but at the same time, like too simplistic, but like confusing somehow at the same. Like so I don't know how they managed to do that.
To get into the plot, this kid finds out that his dad, who's a detective in Rhyme City, died with his Pokemon partner. So he shows up to Rhyme City. So then this kid, he runs into Pikachu, who he can understand for some reason. And Pikachu manages to convince him, nope, your dad's still alive. And the kid's like, he gains a glimmer of hope. And he's like, fine, let's go figure this out. Then he meets, this news reporter chick. Horrible. And then the rest of the movie is on a quest to find out, discover the truth. Yeah. Now, part of that I didn't like about the whole story, not only to me was it super predictable, but way too exposition heavy. They spoon feed the plot to you. Well, this is happening
with the holograms and all that.
Yeah, it was too
just
much.
Like lazy ways to progress the plot. Yeah, like
that. Yeah, feeding you like we're all idiots. Like here's the story since you can't figure things out.
Okay, the thing is, Pokemon has always been it's a kids franchise. It's aimed to kids. But that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse because there are plenty of films that are kids films that are also made to be enjoyable by adults,
like Shrek.
Okay. No, but there are plenty. Any Pixar film, basically most Pixar films.
Yeah, that's true.
The How to Train Your Dragon films. There are a lot of films that just because they're aimed at kids doesn't mean that they should not be enjoyable to adults. It's not, especially with a franchise like this where. Like, everyone who grew up with this franchise is in their 20s and 30s at this point, right? So it's like, that's a huge demographic of their fan base.
Which brings up a question for you. If you did not grow up with this fan base, if you did not grow up playing either the video games or the card games or watching the anime, do you think this movie was a good introduction to the world of Pokemon?
Not the traditional world. I mean, it's a good introduction to a world with Pokemon. But it's not a good
sense of what Pokemon is.
It's not a good representation of the Pokemon franchise, I would say.
I agree with you 100%.
For a movie, for this being the first Pokemon movie, live action Pokemon movie, there aren't all that many Pokemon in it doing anything like to progress the plot itself. Or
as being me of like iRobot, of just watching like the robots and the humans coexisting, and they're just walking around, but you don't really know about the robots much. Yeah, what they do or whatever. Like you see a Squirtle working with the fire department. Oh look, okay, that guy spits water.
You see how they're involved, how they are meshed in with the human world, right? You see how they like coexist together and help each other. But like basically in the background of the film. It's not any major part of the story. The biggest role any one Pokemon plays in the film is Mr. Mime. And that's probably one of the best scenes in the movie is the Mr. Mime scene. Yeah. It was pretty hilarious. But like that's the only scene where you really see first off, the main character's doing any sort of like detective work, right? Where they're actually going out and interviewing or trying to piece together clues. Yeah. That scene worked pretty well.
To me, Pokemon, it's about, a world where these, wild animals, and then people catch them, they train them, and there's competitive tournaments and battles around the world, and that's kind of the world of Pokemon.
Of course.
This movie had none of that. They mentioned Pokemon training in the background.
Yeah.
But it was just a world with these weird animals, and they're just living amongst humans. I don't think it was a good introduction to the world of Pokemon.
Not
to
only
me, Pokemon is about being the very best. Like no one ever was.
To catch them is their real test. To train them is their cause. Pokemon, dude. I felt some more parallels, again, to the Amazing Spider-Man franchise with the lizard in the first film, with Lizard's plan to spread gas across the city, dude, and turn everyone into lizards. This was the same thing.
Batman, 1989, when the Joker is...
Oh, so that's who we have to blame for this trope.
The Joker filling up the balloons and going through downtown, throwing money. Everyone's like, oh, look, the Joker's a good guy. He's giving us free money. And then he pops the balloon and the Joker gas starts spreading. Literally of giant Macy's Day Parade balloons. They took this plot straight out of Batman, dude. What did you think of the big twist at the movie?
That was probably the best part of the movie. And it's like the last 2 minutes.
You didn't see it coming? The twist?
I can't say that I did. To be fair, I did think about it.
You suspected the twist of the bad guy, right?
I got that in the first 5 minutes.
And that he was going to take over Mewtwo's body?
Yes.
But you didn't suspect that Pikachu was Ryan Reynolds, his dad?
The thought did cross my mind.
Almost from the very beginning, I knew it.
Well, Pikachu wasn't his dad.
Right. No, Pikachu married his mom.
They consummated the marriage and created...
No, but to myself, I was thinking they probably turned his dad into a Pikachu somehow. Like all this laboratory. So that's what I thought from the beginning. I kind of dismissed the idea because it was ridiculous. But about halfway during the movie, when they started talking about like forcing Pokemon to evolve and, and then you see the hologram of Mewtwo carrying his dad up. And like taking Pikachu's memories or something. I was like, oh, Pikachu's gonna end up being his dad somehow. And you know why I figured it out? Because I'm not racist. And let me tell you why.
My God.
Because I learned from Spider-Man Homecoming. Right? That twist came out of nowhere.
There's so many Spider-Man references in this review.
Because you weren't expecting Michael Keaton to be this black girl's dad because he's white. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it caught me off guard. Why? Because I'm racist. Apparently, I didn't think an interracial marriage.
Straight up racist fool.
But then I'm like, you know what?
Bigot!
It's gonna be Ryan Reynolds because I'm not racist anymore.
I was racist before watching Spider-Man Homecoming, but post, I'm no longer racist. Point being, I gotta say that the reveal at the end with Ryan Reynolds making a physical appearance in the film, it was pretty nice. And it was the first time in the movie that I actually felt some emotion throughout the whole thing. Like I actually felt something. I was like, oh, I actually got a little bit choked up. I'm like, oh, that's like nice. It made me feel one thing. The movie made me feel one thing. Positives, like, okay.
It was fun at points.
Yeah. Let me just say some positive things that I enjoyed. The battle scene with Pikachu and Charizard, the whole underground fighting scene, it was pretty cool. It was cool seeing Pokemon battle like that, seeing Charizard rendered live action, pretty cool. Entertaining. And also the final scene with Mewtwo flying around, even though it was like not really Mewtwo, it was like old man Mewtwo and he was talking and stuff. Yeah. But I just enjoyed the visual of seeing Mewtwo flying around and using Shadow Ball, throwing it at Pikachu, and like all the Pokemon using their attacks and stuff. It was pretty cool to see that. But as far as story goes, as far as characters go, underwritten, undercooked, felt just bland, predictable, and ultimately disappointing. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds carried the movie, and even a lot of his quips I thought weren't that great.
So before we get on with our final thoughts, I thought it'd be fun to try something new. So what I went ahead and did, we posted a spoiler chat on Instagram and on Facebook. So if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook, make sure to do that so you can participate in future videos. Spoiler chat. Find the spoiler chat pic and comment a little mini review, 1 or 2 sentences. Spoilers are fine. Tell us your favorite scene. Tell us what scene you thought was the worst. And some people did that, so we're just going to read a couple of them. The first one, Yugen Films, actually a buddy of ours, he commented, funniest scene was the interrogation with Mr. Mime. And I agree. That was the funniest scene in the entire movie. And I actually laughed out loud when he accidentally dropped the invisible match.
Oh, yeah.
And then everyone was like...
Yeah.
I was expecting a explosion.
So are we to understand that they actually killed Mr. Mime right there? Like, he died. Because
did you know that Mr. Mime is described, I think, like in the Pokédex, or it's canon, as being a father figure to children, and many times accompanying lonely single mothers.
To go here, huh?
I'm not even joking. That's an actual thing. Did you know about that?
Yes, I did. You had to bring up on
hella weird, Nintendo or the Pokemon Company.
Okay, the last one. Let's see. We have a comment here from Vic Alv. Vic Alv. I got to see it yesterday and I enjoyed it much more than I expected. The acting from the human characters was really bad at times, but Ryan Reynolds made it easy to overlook that. 7.5 out of 10 he gives it.
I agree. Ryan Reynolds definitely carried.
Ryan Reynolds carried the film on his shoulders entirely. But I'll agree with him.
Acting was
I'll agree with him that the majority of the actors were pretty terrible. Yeah. Maybe Ken Watanabe, he's okay.
He was so underused.
But he's underused, and I was just waiting for the scene where he came out like at the Pokemon Underground battle, and he was like, "Let them fight." Overall, I didn't like it. I must say, I didn't like it overall. There was enjoyable moments throughout. It's cool seeing some of the Pokemon in live action. Overall, I'd say I was pretty disappointed. And I hope that if they do make a sequel, they keep it more in line with the original Pokemon story that we know, right? Yeah. Whether that be Ash, following like Ash Ketchum, and seeing all those original characters we all love, Brock, Misty, Team Rocket, right?
Yes.
Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, Professor Oak. I was just yearning to see those characters. Yeah. And I was like, we're following this boring detective story that I'm like, I don't care about this. I don't care about these characters. I want to see my OG characters in these movies. So I hope it makes enough money to warrant a sequel, or if not a sequel, hopefully not a sequel, actually. I just want them to do another Pokemon movie, keeping it more faithful to the OG.
The OG story.
Yes.
I thought I enjoyed it enough. I thought it was fun throughout the most part, but it was okay, from okay to good, somewhere in that range. So many missed opportunities. It was too predictable for me. Some of the actors were kind of bad. I had fun, but that's the most I can say from the movie. I think I really have no desire to see it again. I don't know when the next time I'll watch it.
Definitely won't buy it.
I wouldn't buy it.
Definitely won't buy it. I wish I could even say I had like a lot of fun, but I can't say I had a lot of fun watching it. Like I really can't. I was really, it was pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
But
I could see that. All right, guys. So these were our thoughts. Maybe you guys liked it a whole lot more. Maybe you didn't. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to follow us on all other social media, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.